It's now time for Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. It began as a podcast, went live on the net, and transformed into a full-blown empire. It's the only daily boxing talk show on the planet, hosted by the only guy with the balls to do it. Many have stepped into the ring. Many have tried to take the belt. And one by one, they've fallen. Another victim of the undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. Talkin' Boxing with Billy C is on now.
My style is impetuous, my defense is impregnable, and I'm just ferocious. I want your heart.
And we're coming to you live from the Billy C Studios in Lake George, New York. I'm Bill Calogero, and it's time for the Billy C Show. Good morning, good day, good evening, whenever you're listening, whenever you're watching. I hope you're doing all right. I hope you're warm and cozy today. The East Coast has been getting hammered by storms, even in the South. So we're all joining in the reindeer games of what we call winter. Today's show is being brought to us in part by Sal's Neighborhood Pizzeria, an Italian restaurant located on St. Simon's Island in Georgia. Check out the website, www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria. No. It's www.salsneighborhoodpizzeria.com. Yeah. That was right. I was right about the couple of dots. There were a couple of dots. You know what? Pick up the phone and call them. 912-268-2328. 912-268-2328. Find out why I go all the way to St. Simon's to get an authentic Italian meal. And speaking of St. Simon's, don't forget to join us January 19th when Sal and I do our next Billy C Boxing event. We will be showing not one, not two, not three, but 4 classic fights that you guys will be able to watch and be part of our live audience as we film our next revisited episode. We're going to put some food out for you. We're going to have a cash bar, and we're going to have some former world champions. We know Ray Mercer is scheduled to come, and we'll keep you posted next week on who else will be there. I know we've received some emails and interest on that. Keep them coming. Go to cpalms.com and make your plans today. It's a Friday night, but what the hell? Make it a weekend. Bring the family. What a great golf course they have at Sea Palms. There's a beautiful pool. There's so much to do on the island. Make it we're billing it as our after the holiday party. So, hey, everybody needs a break after the holidays, right? Come on down, as Monty Hall used to say. I think it was Monty Hall, right? Come on down, whatever. Make your plans. And today's show is also being brought to us in part by my book, Tom Molyneux, From Bondage to Baddest Man on the Planet, is available right now where good books are sold. You can get a copy of it right now while you're watching the show. Just visit barnesandnoble.com or amazon.com. Just get yourself a copy right now. Uh-oh. What was it? I got to check the ingredients of my non-dairy creamer because it's been making me a little crazy lately. You know, I've heard bok choy salad do that. Hey, well, whatever. Hey, it's a boxing show, right? But anyway, don't forget next week we won't be doing a live show on Tuesday. And the following week, we're going to be off from live show because I'm going to be in transit going down to St. Simon's. So, hey, speaking of St. Simon's, come on down earlier. Come on down earlier. Anyway, I got to stop that. I want to talk about a couple of things today. We got an email to read. I've been thinking about an email we had recently about comparing, 2017 to 1997, and we were all like, jumping for joy over 1997. And, of course, last year, 2017, was a great year for boxing. But how good really was 1997? I'll talk about that in a second. I got some other things I wanted to talk about. But one thing, it came to my attention this morning in a very slow boxing week that apparently there's some peoples out there who don't think Anthony Joshua's all that great. So, I posed a question today. Is Anthony Joshua overrated or is he underrated? I know recently Eddie Hearn, his promoter, made accusations that people underrate his punching power. I'm not sure why people would do that, considering he's never won a fight without stopping his opponent. So that has to demonstrate punching power. But do you think Anthony Joshua is overrated or underrated? Joining me right now from St. Simon's Island, my partner in crime, Sal Rocky Senecola. And Sal, I ask you the question: do you feel that Anthony Joshua is overrated or underrated?
Oh, that's a question. Let me tell you, that's a question. I think Anthony Joshua, in today's today's environment or times and era, as far as heavyweight contenders, I think he's rated pretty much where he is. I think he's properly rated. I would dare to say that I think a fighter like a Larry Holmes would give him trouble. Muhammad Ali would definitely outbox him and tag him. I think he would have trouble against a George Foreman type. I think the styles make fights. I could name a lot of fighters I think would beat Anthony Joshua, including, I think, you and I debate this and talk about it. I think Deontay Wilder has that crazy, as we had said on the news show before, for lack of a better term, that drunken octopus style of throwing punches. You can catch Anthony Joshua with that. He's a exact textbook, black and white fighter. And that's to his credit. He does it fundamentally sound with his defense, with his offense, and some of his ring movement. I think somebody with a little more speed and finesse might try to stay on the outside, pick them apart until they get in and land some big shots. That's just my opinion. I think he's properly rated today in a division that you do not have a plethora of big contenders.
So after dancing around that question, you feel he's not either. You feel that he's not either overrated or underrated. You think where the masses put him is where he should be.
For the times that he is fighting in today, I think he is where he should be, because like I said, I don't think there's too many other fighters heavyweight in that division right now that could tell anybody else differently. I think, Deontay Wilder, that's a fight we will have to see. And I think he is the one fighter that has a style that is not predictable, and that I think that Anthony Joshua has not faced just yet. And I think in his young career, because he is a young career, he's only had under 25 professional fights, less than that I think he's got a lot to develop and show. As he keeps beating and knocking out these guys. I think he has a hell of a punch. He's very heavy-handed. But like I said, in today's era of heavyweight contenders, I think he is one of the best. And Deontay Wilder will prove that if he falls short of doing anything else other than beating Anthony Joshua.
All right.
That's my opinion.
First of all,
I think there were a lot of heavyweights that could beat him, and I think the magic boxing machine would probably show that.
First of all, as far as Deontay Wilder, the only way, and some of the other names that you threw out there, obviously, we would need a time machine to make, back that opinion up or not. But as far as Deontay Wilder, eventually, I believe we're going to see the fight. Now, this is the reason I think that Deontay Wilder is on the fraud side is because when you see him and the way it was put to us via an email and what you referenced a few minutes ago as far as the drunken octopus style, which, Deontay Wilder, they referred to him as, I look at it like this, Sal. I think that Deontay Wilder, because his level of opposition has been so low, I mean, I don't care how you try to spin it. He's fought nobody of note. Not one fight. I mean, the guys that you can put in there that we give him credit for beating, really, Chris Arreola, even though he was long gone, I'll give him that. And I give him the credit for beating that Polish fighter, Artur Spitska. Those two guys were decent heavyweights, and I give Deontay Wilder credit for beating those. But he did not beat those guys. He has not fought anybody that really posed any kind of danger to Deontay, with the exception of the first Bermain-Stavern fight. They thought he posed danger, he being Stavern, and they fought a smart fight. I'm saying they, him and his trainer Mark Breland, him being Deontay Wilder, and they fought a smart fight, employing the jab, etc. But since then, and even we saw that in his rematch with Stavern, we know that Stavern is just a fat pig and a lazy guy who really should not have even been allowed to wear a belt, let alone be called a champion. And Deontay Wilder, that crazy drunken octopus style, I think, is a result of him having no respect for his opponent because they're not going to pose any threat. So he goes in there to take care of business, which is knocking him out. Anthony Joshua, on the other hand, to me, he displays more ability in terms of boxing ability. Yes, he goes for the knockout, but he wears his opponent down the way you're supposed to. He breaks him down. He's not going into fights saying this guy doesn't have a chance against me, I'm going to blow him away. He respects everybody he goes in there and fight. And let's be real, he's fought way tougher opposition than Wilder. So, I think that Anthony Joshua's, just for people like you who say that Deontay Wilder even has a chance against him, I think that I would lean towards Anthony Joshua being underrated. Not by me, but, I think he's the real deal. But I think that some people that don't agree with me are wrong. No. Wait, who's this? Who's this, Teddy Atlas? No, but I think that people that would disagree with me would feel that he's overrated. I think he's underrated, or exactly what you said, maybe rated exactly how the average boxing fan looks at him. But I think he's an important part of the sport right now. Now, as far as you saying, I think he could beat Ali, or you saying he wouldn't have stood a chance with Ali or Foreman. This is where I have to disagree, not taking anything away from Muhammad Ali, the greatest, self-proclaimed the greatest, George Foreman, who was a killer in his early years, and all the other great fighters of yesteryear. I'm not taking anything away, but I go back to a good big man will beat a good small man, and the difference is that Anthony Joshua is a monster compared to Ali. Ali was considered a monster at 6'3". You're talking about
pounds in his prime.
Yeah, but you're talking about a guy that's got 50 pounds on him, 40 pounds on him, and another 4 inches, 5 inches. I mean, in height, you're talking about a guy that is so much bigger. It almost, to me, would be like watching, this is going way back, but it's the vision I have in my head, watching Jack Johnson, the late, great Jack Johnson, fighting the late, great Stanley Ketchel, when Stanley Ketchel moved up from middleweight to fight Jack Johnson. If you ever watched footage of that, you would see it's a mismatch in size and height. I mean, what do you think?
Well, yeah, that's a definite good example, Bill. And I don't think you could say that Stanley Ketchel would be as representing a fighter as like a Muhammad Ali versus Joshua. I think Anthony Joshua is a solid, sound, fundamentally solid fighter. I mean, he's everything you want to see in a boxer. Elbows in, hands up, jab from the shoulder back to protect. He's fundamentally sound. And I think what I'm trying to see, or is going to see when he's brought out of his fundamentally sound style by somebody that's going to take him or stretch him a little bit differently. That's going to have lateral movement. That's going to try to pick him apart or do that, break him down. It's going to have actually a strategy. I'm not putting him down. Don't get me wrong. I think, like I'm saying today, Anthony Joshua is probably one of the most fundamentally sound boxers today at any weight. He does things right. He's well schooled, and I think that he could remain a champion for many, many fights yet, in many, many years. I do think, he's going to have to show how he can adapt or fight other styles than what he's been facing thus far. I think, he did a great job against Klitschko. He did a great job of outboxing many of his opponents. But like I said, for some reason, I think Deontay Wilder is going to give him a little bit of trouble and a different perspective or a different side of a fighter that he has yet to face. So I'm not saying Deontay Wilder is going to beat him. I'm not saying he's going to knock him out. I am going to say that it's going to be a pretty good fight, and it's going to be a style that Anthony Joshua has not yet faced, and that's all.
Well, hold that thought. We're going to take a short break. We're over our time. I think somebody slipped Sal a Mickey or something. I don't know. He's not thinking clearly. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back.
Broken air conditioning, $4,400. Failing refrigerator, $2,500. Don't let outrageous repair and replacement bills like these bust your budget. Get the First American Home Warranty Plan. And when a covered appliance or system breaks, we'll repair it or replace it for you.
We had a high-end dishwasher go kaput. They put it in a brand new dishwasher.
We have plans that cover air conditioning, most appliances, plus heating, plumbing, electrical systems, and much more. Plans start as low as $25 a month. Why let a major appliance or system breakdown bust your budget or go through the hassle of finding trustworthy service people? Last year alone, we saved our customers over $120 million. Don't wait until something breaks and you're stuck with a huge bill.
You save a lot of money. It's absolutely worth it.
If you don't have First American Warranty, get it.
Call 1-800-946-6234 for your free no-obligation quote.
Looks like you're not sleeping well.
How did you know? And Megan!
Hey, you're that guy.
The My Pillow guy.
That's right, and I'm here to help you get the best sleep of your lives. Just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and none of them worked. That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck aligned. My Pillow will hold its shape all night long, regardless of your sleep position, for the best sleep of your life.
Call or go online to order My Pillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 My Pillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
You're sleeping better.
Much better.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
If you or a loved one have had hernia repair surgery with mesh reinforcement and suffered infection, chronic pain, mesh migration, mesh failure, organ damage, or needed additional surgery, call the Rely On Group right now. You may be eligible to receive a cash award and compensation for your medical expenses. Your voice deserves to be heard. Call the Rely On Group to be connected with a personal injury attorney for a free consultation. Call 800-715-4869. That's 800-715-4869.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace? Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now. or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts. Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you.
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Glad you could be with us. And speaking of being with us, don't forget to join us on January 19th. It's a Friday on beautiful St. Simon's Island at the Sea Palms Resort. Sal and I are going to be doing another Billy C. boxing event. This one's called Our Holiday Party After the Holiday. Oh, no. After the Holiday Party. Yeah. That's it. I keep forgetting. After the Holiday Party. That's what we're calling it. Come on down Friday night. We're not going to show you 1. We're not going to show you 2. We're not going to show you 3. We're going to show you 4 classic fights that we're going to rebroadcast. We're going to have some food for you. We'll have a cash bar. I know Ray Mercer's going to be there. We're working on some other former world champions. It's a great time. Call the Sea Palms or visit the Sea Palms website to call them, seapalms.com. Mention you want to be part of the Billy C event on January 19th. It's a Friday night. Make plans for the weekend. Bring the family down. Play a couple of rounds of golf. Go fishing. Eat at Sal's. Whew. I got a whole itinerary for you. Just drop me an email, and I'll hook you up. Anyway, before we went to break, you're nuts about thinking that Anthony Joshua would lose to Deontay Wilder, but in the heavyweight division, we got punching power. So anybody could win on any given day. But,
yes,
Deontay Wilder has not fought anybody of note. You can't convince me that a guy who has pretty much, been hand-fed cupcake after cupcake and does what he's supposed to do. And by the way, he's even struggled against guys like Molina and Johan Duhaupas. He struggled against those guys, and he should have put them away quickly. When and if Deontay Wilder fights Anthony Joshua is going to school him. He really is. Deontay Wilder is going to come out like you suggest, like a drunken octopus, and he's going to be wild. He gets hit. Even these slugs that he's fought has connected with him. The issue here is when and if they fight, it's going to boil down to one thing, Sal. One thing only. Can Anthony Joshua take Deontay Wilder's punch? Because Deontay's going to come in and he's going to land a couple. If Anthony Joshua can take those couple of punches, good night, Deontay Wilder. Because if Anthony Joshua can't take those punches, then it's going to be a huge upset, and I'm going to be proved wrong. But don't count on it. Deontay Wilder is tall, but at 220 pounds and virtually no midsection, and the fact that his build is like that, if this guy was a boxer, if he was dancing around, tagging you at will and controlling the ring and moving in and breaking his opponent down, then coming in with the hammer and knocking him out, I wouldn't even be critical. I wouldn't even doubt that he would give AJ not only a good fight but even beat him. But he doesn't do that. And he is athletic, but he doesn't do it. And Anthony Joshua has improved. Have you seen improvement with Deontay Wilder? I certainly haven't. I've seen improvement with Anthony Joshua. There's a big difference between those two.
I agree with you. Listen, like I said, I'm not saying Anthony Joshua is going to lose to Deontay Wilder. I'm just saying that Anthony Joshua has not yet faced an opponent like Deontay Wilder with that kind of freakish style. See, Joshua's great. He's fundamentally, he's solid. He's sound. He does everything textbook. I'm telling you, hands are up, elbows inside. He extends the punch, brings it back. He's fundamentally sound. He can cut the ring off a little bit. He's not the fastest guy laterally, but he's a big guy. So I'm just saying that Deontay Wilder, with his unorthodox style, if he's under the tutelage of Mark Breland, they're going to be specific and have a game plan, I would believe, not only game A, but game plan B, which maybe he may not even recall or remember if he gets hit with a Joshua punch. That goes out the window, like Mike Tyson would say. But the bottom line is I could actually see Deontay Wilder trying to move a little bit of lateral movement here, hitting him with the jab from the outside, opening some things, and with that fundamentally sound style that Anthony Joshua possesses, I could just see one of those freakish looping out of punches from the heels and somewhere else they come from that Deontay Wilder could deliver and possibly hurt or shock or stun Anthony Joshua. That's all I'm thinking.
No doubt.
He's got that chance.
No doubt.
Because the guy, like I said, you don't know what's going to come next. The foot, the leg, that's the octopus style. And he just does that. And like I said, Anthony Joshua hasn't faced that kind of style yet. And same thing. Deontay Wilder hasn't faced a guy at the level of Anthony Joshua. So it could be, who used to say that? Good night, sweet prince. Was that Sal Marciano?
Listen,
Anthony Joshua could land a right hand or a hook onto Deontay Wilder, and we're going to see a good night, sweet prince. That's it.
Listen,
I can see Anthony Joshua knocking out with one punch Deontay Wilder. I don't see one punch knocking out Anthony Joshua.
I agree with that. I see one punch knocking out Deontay Wilder. I also do see one. I think Deontay Wilder does possess one punch knockout power, even against a good opponent. But I think that fight, when and if it happens, will boil down to who the better ring general is. Because if Deontay Wilder does come out and fight smart and employ the jab, which we know he can do, he's done it. He's done it well when the two times that he's done it, both fights against Stavern. If he tries to employ the jab against AJ, it's going to be interesting to see what AJ does. If AJ can control the ring and cut the ring off and position Deontay where he wants him, it's not going to be a competitive fight. And likewise, if Deontay Wilder can use his feet, use his jab, and frustrate Anthony Joshua to the point where Anthony Joshua is either chasing him or putting himself in harm's way because he's spinning opposite directions and is not ring savvy enough to counter a moving fighter if Deontay comes out like that, then the favor all of a sudden goes to Deontay. I mean, I can make the scenarios just like you can of how Deontay Wilder can win. But my point is it's just not going to happen. I think at the end of the day, it boils down to experience, Sal. And we're not looking at the number of fights because clearly Deontay Wilder has more experience in the number of professional fights than Anthony Joshua has. But when you look at the experience level of the fighters each of them fought, to today, from 0 to today, Anthony Joshua has far exceeded the level of opposition, higher level of opposition than Deontay Wilder has. And I think that comes into play. And I also think that when a fighter increases his level of opposition, they get better. I've used the analogy a million times. You take another sport like football. If the best team plays the worst team for 16 weeks and goes undefeated, are they the best team? No, I don't think so. You got to fight in boxing. You got to fight good opposition in order for you to get better. Deontay Wilder has not fought any good opponent, and his level of opposition has been maintained by the powers that be that make the decisions for Deontay. So in Deontay's defense, he hasn't even been given a chance to improve. That's just my point. And when and if those two fight, I can't wait for them to fight. But when and if those two fight, it's going to boil down to who's more technically sound. From top to bottom, delivery of punches, defense, movement, ring generalship, the whole nine. And I have to lean towards AJ in that, Sal.
I will also give you that. I think Anthony Joshua is more of a technician And that's what I'm saying. He's one of the most fundamentally sound boxers that you'll see today. He does everything right, everything a trainer could instruct a young fighter to do. What I'm talking about are the intangibles or the variables that a fighter has to adapt to as a second nature, as an instinct. That's what I'm not sure we're going to see from Anthony Joshua if he's going to be in that position. We did see him with his instincts take over when he fought Klitschko, and that was a big proving point that he could take a punch, he could pick it up, he could get off the canvas, and he can come back to win. So
let me ask you. Let me ask you,
and I respect that and appreciate that.
Let me ask you one question as a follow up to that comment. Do you think that Deontay Wilder punches any harder than Vladimir Klitschko?
You know, there's a difference, Bill. Not to avoid the question. You got heavy-handed fighters, boom, or you have striking fast, hard punchers. You know, or vice versa. You got heavy-handed fighters. Klitschko is a heavy-handed fighter. Anthony Joshua is a heavy-handed fighter. Deontay Wilder, even though he has got power, I think it's more from the snap, the leverage, the unorthodox style, and bringing the punches from his feet, anywhere, knees. And it's a whipping power versus a heavy-handed thud. So I think they both have the power that's capable of stopping each other. So it's a hard question really for me to say.
So you do again. I'm going to ask the question:
okay.
Does Deontay Wilder punch harder than Klitschko? Cat got
no, I don't think so. I don't think so.
Me neither.
I don't think when all is said and done, I don't think he does.
Exactly. Me neither. And that's my point. And
good answer. Was that a good answer, Dad?
Well, no. But my point is that we're all saying that Deontay has the punching power to knock out AJ with one punch and change, make history, right? But we've already seen AJ get crushed by Klitschko, drag his ass up, and survive and come back and knock out Klitschko. And I'm not suggesting that AJ, wants to do that, get up off the canvas and win, especially against Deontay. But when you look at that was a learning experience. I am
yes,
sure
it was. That's experience.
But I'm sure that he's gone back and viewed the tape on that punch, how he got caught, why he got caught, and he tightened it up. Now, we didn't get to see it in his last fight because he didn't fight, somebody of Klitschko's caliber. But I don't know. Listen, when you weigh these two guys out and you make the chart and you put checkpoints on either side, at the end of the checkpoint day, AJ is going to beat Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder is he's a guy that's been built up. He's a fraud. He's a fraud. That's all. I'm sorry.
Listen to me.
And I know he's got punching power, and I know that any heavyweight, I don't care how good they are, you're knocking him out. He's what is he, 39 and 0 with 38 knockouts. I mean, it's impressive, but he's never fought anybody good, Sal.
No, and I will tell you this. You put it on paper, black and white, Anthony Joshua, no way should lose to Deontay Wilder. You put it on paper, black and white, list the pros and cons. Anthony Joshua is a solid, sound fighter that should destroy Deontay Wilder anytime they face each other in a ring. Should, black and white, on paper. I agree. But there's the other variables that I think Deontay Wilder possesses, along with the punching power, that may change the game. That's all I'm saying. And he's the one fighter that could do that.
I agree. I mean, Deontay has the punching power to knock out AJ. There's no question.
And a freakish delivery. The guy's unorthodox. That's all I'm saying. But you got a fundamentally sound fighter that's going to fight something like just wailing punches from all over the place and trying to move side to side. You don't know what's going to. But who's he ready? You're going to prepare for it.
But who has Deontay Wilder fought that's fundamentally sound that was able
nobody of Anthony Joshua.
Nobody. So
Nobody.
his game plan, with the exception of 2 fights, both of them being against Stavern, has been seek and destroy. He's gone out to kill his opponent, to knock out his opponent with reckless abandon. That's his game plan, except for when he fought Stavern, because he thought that Stavern was good. So he employed a fantastic. The first fight against Stavern was probably one of the best performances from any heavyweight in terms of employing the jab and breaking his opponent down. I mean, he was great. And I mean, if he can do that against Anthony Joshua, and listen, like I just said a minute ago, it's going to boil down to who is the better ring general. They both possess power. If you want to say that they're equal with Anthony Joshua's, polished approach and Deontay Wilder's unorthodox approach, if you want to call that even, the fight, the punching power even, you want to call the size even, all of that stuff, you want to even everything up, it's going to boil down, when and if they fight, to who's the better ring general. And although we haven't seen either one of them have to show that, because let's face it, the AJ fight against Klitschko, he showed some, that one round where he was totally gassed, that was Klitschko's chance to finish him off. And I don't think that if he gets in that position against Deontay will finish him off. Youth is on Deontay's side. I mean, not that he's younger than AJ. I'm just saying, Anthony Joshua can't possibly run out of that much gas against Deontay Wilder. But again, he experienced it and hopefully learned something from it. The fight has to happen. I think that Deontay Wilder is in a win-win situation, even if he loses. He changes the game for himself in terms of money making, et cetera, et cetera. But at the end of the day, Anthony Joshua's going to knock him out. He's going to expose Deontay Wilder for what he is, and quite frankly, he's a fraud. And it is what it is. You can't hand feed cupcake after cupcake, 39 cupcakes, and tell me you're the best fighter. I'm sorry. And you know what? We're going to see Anthony Joshua fight Joseph Parker. I know. It's time. I got to take a break. But we are going to see Anthony Joshua. You got me. Anthony Joshua is going to fight Joseph Parker, and Deontay Wilder is going to fight Luis Ortiz. Despite Luis Ortiz being 67 years old, it's still going to be the toughest fight for Deontay Wilder. We're going to take a break, like Sal's reminded me, and we will be back in 2 minutes.
Billy C will be right back.
Relief from backaches and stiffness in your hips or down your legs? Then you need Dr. Ho's Back Relief Belt, the innovative technology to support and decompress your spine. And now it's covered by Medicare.
Every patient with back pain should be wearing this belt.
Nothing gave me instant relief except for the Dr. Ho belt.
Feel good while standing, walking, driving, doing housework, and while laying down. And now Dr. Ho's patented belt is available at our best price ever. It's even covered by Medicare. Order now and get the easy-to-use hand pump and back rehabilitation DVD free.
Similar belts can cost you almost $1,000, but my belts won't cost you $500, not $300, not even $200. I will give you my special TV price.
And remember, Dr. Ho's belt is covered by Medicare.
If you know a friend or family member that suffers with pain, get them my system today. Help them live with less pain, be more active, and get back to doing the things they love. Give them the gift of health.
This is important news for women using birth control medications and devices. If you or a loved one have been diagnosed with a pseudotumor after using one of these birth control drugs or devices, you may be eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Contact the law firm of Davis & Crump right now if you or a loved one have used one of these birth control medications or devices and were diagnosed with a pseudotumor to see if you are eligible for a cash award and medical expenses. Call now. Operators are standing by.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative three-dimensional patented technology. that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C., the only radio host man enough to take a punch from Mike Tyson.
Wait a minute, man. Hold on there. Jeremy, man, I need you to take this one, all right?
Wait, what? No way. I can't do this.
Need I remind you I'm Billy C., damn it? Now put on that mustache and get in there.
Hey, look at me. I'm Billy C. Crap.
The undisputed heavyweight champion of Boxing Talk Radio. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com.
And we're back. You're watching and listening to the Billy C. Show. Don't forget to join Sal and myself January 19th. It's a Friday in St. Simon's Island at the Sea Palms Resort. Sal and I are going to be doing another Billy C. boxing event. This one is called After the Holiday Party. And we want you to be there with us. Rub elbows with some former world champions. But more importantly, sit and watch not one, not two, not three, but 4 classic fights as Sal and I will rebroadcast them for you. We have a ballroom all set for you. We're going to have food there for you and a cash bar. So make a weekend out of it. Bring the family and enjoy a couple of rounds of golf. The pool, the whole island itself is just a beautiful place to hang out. Make your plans now. Go to cpalms.com. Tell them you want the Billy C. boxing event that's taking place on Friday, January 19th, and they'll hook you up with special rates for that weekend. Sal, a couple of days ago, we had one of our emailers was comparing 2017 with 1997, and he gave us a whole nice list of some great fights that took place in 1997. I started thinking about it, and although I don't want to get into an argument with anybody about the level of fights that were mentioned and stuff, I started thinking about how it really is in the sport of boxing. And how we always take the previous generation or the previous era and look at it as being better than the current era. It always seems like the current crop of fighters are never as good as the ones that took place previously. A good case in point is a lot of people refer to the 1980s as the last great era of boxing. However, I've admitted many, many times that if you would have come up to me in 1985 and said to me, hey, Billy, because I wasn't Billy C. yet, hey, Billy, do you think that you're witnessing the last great era of boxing? I would have laughed at them. And I would have said, you think this is a great era? How about the 60s? How about the 70s? How about the 50s? How about the 40s? How about the 30s? I would have kept going further and further beyond. And, yet, as time went on, the 80s came into a clarity in terms of being a great era. Well, we had a email that was comparing 1997 with 2017. Obviously, 20 years difference. Never in a million years, Sal, would I have thought that somebody would have went back and spent the time to dig up the fights that he did in 1997 and compared them to the fights in 2017. Never have I looked at the 90s as being a good, not even, forget about great, never even looked at it as being a good era, but you can always find eras from the past that, had some great fights. But I think one thing is in common, Sal, and that is the old line that says, as goes the heavyweight division, so goes boxing. What do you think?
I think it's correct. I think it's spot on, as we say. But I will tell you this. The 80s, it was a magical era. It was a great era. I was glad to be a part of it, proud to be a part of it. But then you could look at the 70s, and you had more heavyweights in that division during the 70s that would have all been champion today. It's just a matter of splicing it, looking at it, and dissecting it, and looking at it. I mean, we as humans, that's the fight in us. We always want better. We always compare to what could have been better, or what could beat this, what can top this, what can match this. And, last year we had a great year in boxing, great year. And where do you look at it from? What other year matched last year? Well, 97 may have done that because it's been a long drought. And, whether we wait a decade for another great year, I don't think we're going to have to do that. I think boxing is going to have to put it up or shut it up. And I think the fights that will come out and wind up being given to us this year will also be a residual of what happened last year. Like I said, I think boxing reboots itself every once in a while, and it's a cycle. It's not how many years that matter, but when the plethora of fighters that come into contention, that come into champions, that have a little personality, that give something special to the sport, that fight for more than just a purse, for the passion, for the legacy, for whatever. Those are the special fighters that help stamp boxing as being the sport that it is.
Well, when I look at the heavyweights, and you go, if you start in the 1900s, early 1900s, you got James Jeffries, who I couldn't think of his name yesterday. That haunted me all friggin' day. All friggin' day yesterday. I was like, I can't believe I went blank. James Jeffries.
Go back and
I couldn't believe it. But you had James Jeffries and followed by Jack Johnson in the early 1900s. A lot of people think that era of heavyweights was one of the greatest ever, surpassing some of the other eras that I'm going to get into. But in the early 1900s, we also had some other great fighters in lower weight classes. But Johnson Jeffries pretty much controlled it, and boxing was huge at that time. In the 1920s, you had Jack Dempsey. Jack Dempsey was first of all, the fans didn't like him at first, and then loved him. And then he went on to be a fan favorite well after his career. He got into promoting. He was very successsul at Jack Dempsey's pub in the city, in New York City. He was an exciting fighter, and boxing was huge. In the 30s and 40s, you had Joe Louis. Joe Louis was a dominating heavyweight, and so was the rest of the sport. In the 20s, 30s, and 40s, I mean, boxing was every town had an arena that put up boxing. You had fights and fighters that became well known in their towns, and then we created rivalries from town to town, city to city, state to state. And it was a great thing for the sport of boxing. In the 50s, you had Rocky Marciano. A lot of people felt that the 50s was a lull in the sport. That the heavyweight division was not that great, but you still had that. It was an era where things started to change. We still saw a lot of fighters that were smaller for heavyweights, and they were moving up. A guy that comes to mind. Great lighter fighters that moved up. Billy Conn. was one of those guys, a lightweight that moved up and fought in the heavyweight division. Ezra Charles was a great middleweight who was a great light heavyweight, who was a heavyweight world champion. So I mean, these kinds of guys. But the sport started changing a little bit. When you had the 60s and 70s, you had Sonny Liston, you had Floyd Patterson, followed by Cassius Clay, who was later known as Muhammad Ali. But look at all the other guys that were in that division at that time. The Joe Frazier's and George Foreman's, and then the Ron Lyles and the Ernie Shavers, and the list goes on and on and on. The Quarry brothers, there was just so many dance partners, and we had another resurgence of heavyweights. And then the late 70s, early 80s, Larry Holmes, followed by Mike Tyson. The late 80s, early 90s, followed by Evander Holyfield. And then as we hit into the late 90s, early 2000s, what do we get? We get an aging we get an aging of Evander Holyfield. We get Lennox Lewis, who was not an exciting fighter, even though he changed the complexion of the heavyweight division. And it's never been the same since. You had the Klitschko brothers, who were dominating, but they were very different. Vitali was more exciting. He threw more punches. Vladimir was a cautious fighter, controlled the heavyweight division for a decade, but nobody cared because he was boring to watch. And you're in this stagnant state. Now all of a sudden we got a discussion. Deontay Wilder, AJ, Joseph Parker, Luis Ortiz. I mean, we got some names in there. The problem is that they're not fighting each other. What made the 70s, late 60s and 70s so great was that they all fought each other. And by the way, Sal, they fought each other multiple times. Now we have to wait and beg and hope that we're going to get a fight that's going to happen. We hope that Wilder and AJ fight, even though everybody wants it. We hope that Triple G and Canelo have a rematch, even though everybody wants it. They may not. I mean, what's changed drastically is the willingness of the fighters, or let's be fair, their teams or management to let them fight. That's the problem with the sport, Sal.
You couldn't have said it any better, Bill. And like you said, I mean, I'd love to see Keith Thurman fight Errol Spence. I'd love to see that's the whole thing. In those eras, fighters challenged themselves. They wanted to prove they were the best, so they sought out who's the best, who's the fans' favorites, who's ranked number one. Who's this? I want to fight him. It wasn't something he had to wave too much money. The money was great. Yeah, that lured him in too. But the bottom line is you had fighters seeking out each other because they wanted to prove they were the best. Leonard doing it to Hagler. Duran doing it to Leonard. It was so on and so on and so on. Hearns doing it to whoever. He would fight anybody. And this is what made those fights great and made these fighters even greater because they had a legacy, they had a reputation, they had something special that they were willing to put on the line, including their lives, to go in a ring and give the fans what they wanted. And that's what was so unique. And a lot of it, even too, in the late 70s, that 76 Olympic team sprinkled dust that carried the next generation. I mean, those gold medalists, including Sugar Ray Leonard, Howard Davis Jr., the Spinks brothers. It was good. Evander Holyfield. It was good. It was a great era that that we were fortunate enough to see the residual of those amateurs that became great professional champions.
No, you're right.
Am I here?
No, you're here. No, I was interacting, but it all boils down to the dance partners, and like you said,
you're so right.
But more importantly, what you said is I think more true. The willingness of the dance partners to dance. Yes. They're there.
Seeking out. They wanted to fight each other.
We got the fighters out there today. We have the athletes out there today. We don't have the willingness because I just believe as a society we've become weak. And, boxing and all sport. I mean, I watch football and I see, that's an illegal hit. You can't do that. Can't do that. Can't do this. Can't do that. And it's like, what's happened? Let's do away with the kickoffs. They're too dangerous. Well, why don't we just outlaw the sport? If you can't have the sport the way its original intent was, don't have it. If people want to outlaw boxing, remember we were doing a show a couple of years ago. They want to change boxing, making hitting above the neck illegal, or forcing fighters to wear headgear. I mean, come on, man. If it's going to get like that, forget about it. Just give everybody a participation trophy. We're all a bunch of pussies. Everybody, this world, well, specifically the United States, has become a bunch of wimps, and it's sad. You drive, you go to work in the morning, drive by, and take a look at the kids at the bus stop. Oh, that's right. You can't see the kids at the bus stop because if they're even at the bus stop, if mom and dad aren't driving them to school, they're parked and waiting in a cozy minivan watching videos until the bus gets there. You go back 20 years and further, kids actually used to have to walk to the bus stop, and they used to have to wait. Whether it rained or snowed or whatever, they were on their way to the bus stop. Now, no, you don't want. No, we'll drive you. We live 100 yards from the bus stop. But let's hop in the minivan. We're going to drive you down to the bus stop. I mean, if that's not a reflection of how weak we got, you bring our youth today, and I talk about this all the time. Our youth today. It all starts with the participation trophy. We can't offend anybody. Can't say that one team won and one team lost because that might hurt little Johnny's feelings. So everybody gets a participation trophy. They hand coddle him all through grade school, all through high school, all through college. Okay, then we turn them loose into the working world, and they're like, whoa, you mean it's competitive out here? You mean I have to do my job better than my coworker, otherwise he gets the raise and I don't? What's that? Oh, I need to take some time off. I can't take it. I'm mentally drained. Are you kidding me? That's what the world is today, Sal, and it's no different in the sport of boxing.
No, it's not, and I agree with you, and I get a lot of that right here in Glenn County, but. And I remember when my kid was, my sons, when they were younger, playing in a soccer program. And it was the first real tournament that my son Sal was in. And he was a young kid. And they didn't get the gold medals at the end. And it was great because up to that point, everybody got the participation trophy. And Sal goes to me and said, Daddy, how come I don't get a medal? I said, you know why? Because this is for the best. This is for the winners. You're going to have to remember that. To want to earn those trophies, those medals, those things that you want so bad, you're going to have to earn it. You have to beat the best. You're going to have to become the best. And from that point on, boy, I think that talk just straightened him out because he's been a performer. He's been exception to the rule, and he strives for perfection, and he's a winner. I'm proud to say that. But the bottom line is, do you think, if we were talking about the era that you and I reminisce about, the 70s and 80s in the fight game, do you really think that we would have to be praying and waiting for Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua to get in a ring together because we're waiting for promoters and matchmakers and everybody else to get together and get it? No, that's what I'm saying. These guys would have sought each other out, wanting to get in a ring together to prove that they were the best. And end the story. That would have been already signed, sealed, delivered. Same thing with Canelo Alvarez and Triple G. Do you think if they really wanted to fight that anybody or anything could stop them? No. They would get in the ring, they'd sign a contract, they'd negotiate terms, and say, boom, it's done. Signed, sealed, delivered. We're fighting there because I'm going to beat your butt and I'm going to prove to you I'm the best. And that's the difference. That's the difference.
Ooh.
Okay, I need a sip of coffee. Thank you.
You get him. You sick him, boy. You sick him. Yeah, but it's sad but true. It's sad but true. And it's the same thing as yesterday's topic. We were talking about WBA stripping Guillermo Rigondeaux of a belt that he didn't even fight for when he lost to Vasily Lomachenko. And I couldn't help but notice a comment that says, basically, hey, Billy C., you're an idiot. You don't know why the WBA stripped Rigondeaux. They stripped him because he's not fan-friendly enough, so they want to get a better fan-friendly fighter as being a champion. And I'm saying to myself, what a bunch of idiots. If you're thinking that, you're an idiot. And the reason why I say that is because, yeah, of course we all want fan-friendly fighters. Duh, right? But the truth of the matter is, since when should sanctioning bodies hand out the belt rather than having it won inside the ring. Whether you're fan-friendly or not, you put those fights in the hands of the judges. That's not a relevant issue. The bottom line is you should win or lose your world title in the ring. Now, if you give it up for some reason because you want to campaign at another weight class or something like that, different story. But titles should be won or lost, Sal, in the ring. Hold that thought. I don't want to be late again. I don't want you waving at me telling me I got to take a break. We're going to take a break. We'll be back in 2.
Billy C will be right back. Part of the Billy C Boxing Network.
Snacking has never been this exciting. At Graze.com, we combine wholesome ingredients with the flavors we all love to create over 100 exciting snacks. Like these. We'd love to send you a Graze sampler box for free. Just go to Graze.com, enter the code ENJOY36, and we'll mail your free box to your home or office. Join thousands of Grazers already in love with our exciting snacks. So come to Graze.com for your first box free.
Looks like you're not sleeping well.
How did you know? And Megan!
Hey, you're that guy.
The My Pillow guy.
That's right, and I'm here to help you get the best sleep of your lives. Just like all of you out there, I had problems sleeping. I had tried every pillow out there and none of them worked. That's why I invented My Pillow. My patented fill adjusts to your exact individual needs and helps keep your neck aligned. My Pillow will hold its shape all night long, regardless of your sleep position, for the best sleep of your life.
Call or go online to order My Pillow Premium, and Mike will give you a second pillow absolutely free. Use the promo code on your screen to get 2 My Pillows for the price of 1. Don't delay. Order now.
You're sleeping better.
Much better.
And you're looking good.
Feeling good.
I knew you would.
For the best night's sleep in the whole wide world, visit mypillow.com.
Hologram USA presents a proposal to all investors. Hologram USA is an innovative 3-dimensional patented technology that shifted the paradigm in media technology. Our patented hologram technology that brought you Tupac and Coachella, Whitney Houston, Billie Holiday, and many more is integrating live performances to bring your favorite past and present entertainers beyond your imagination. Invest in the patented technology before the banks scoop up all the stock. Invest in Hologram USA today. Hologram USA Flagship Theater, located on Hollywood Boulevard's Walk of Fame, is the first of many to come. Call now to be part of the explosive growth. Pick up the phone. Dial the number on your screen now. Invest in Hologram USA today. Call the number on your screen right now to learn about this investment opportunity.
Call 800-624-1673. 800-624-1673.
Are you currently on Medicare? In other words, do you carry the red, white, and blue Medicare card? If so, are you suffering from chronic back pain? If you answered yes, you may be eligible for a pain-relieving back brace covered by Medicare at little to no cost, shipped directly to your home for free. These medical-grade back braces are ideal for lower back pain, arthritis, spinal disorders, and other chronic back problems. Will you qualify for a medical-grade back brace?
Call Back Brace America at 1-800-290-8300.
Check out BillyCBoxing.com now, or feel the wrath of the mighty mustache.
Oh, that hurts! Why are you doing that to my face? I hate you!
That's BillyCBoxing.com. Consider this your warning. Now back to Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. He may not have an Excellence in Broadcasting award, but the night's still young.
And he's got martinis.
So you never know what may be by morning. It's Talkin' Boxing with Billy C.
Talkin' Boxing with Billy C. Now back to Billy C. Interact with the show at BillyCBoxing.com. And
we're back. There's Sal with his mug. That's a pretty good-looking mug you got there, Sal.
That's a Billy C.
Oh, that's right. That's what it is. Oh, I see. That's
it. That's it. Look at that. Hey, there you go, huh? You want a cookie?
Speaking of mugs, I got a lot of requests for the mug that people see with one of our logos, and all I'm going to say is be patient. We're working on having them manufactured right now. So,
I want one too.
I know you got a mug. Yeah, as far as Rigondeaux, the issue yesterday, he was stripped of his title, and when somebody said fan friendly, I had to laugh because, that's half the problem. The sanctioned bodies are a big problem in the sport of boxing, and their claws into the fighters, and then you add in the television networks who don't know a left hook from a fish hook. And, they're trying to bring fighters on that has a record that looks good for their viewers. And then the promoters, when you add that third piece of the puzzle together, the promoters who have just become lazy and, recycle fighters, keep these. I mean, Roy Jones Jr. fighting another fight, a last fight. I mean, come on. I don't know. It's sad. But I got an interesting email that I wanted to read, Sal. It says, and this is from my man Augie out of Riverhead, New York. That's in Long Island. And he says, hey, Billy C., I need your opinion. Why didn't Larry Holmes ever fight George Foreman? They were two greats, and they were during the same time, around the same age. That's a really good question. Because over time, I never was a big fan. I was never a big fan of Larry Holmes, ever.
No, it was not until after.
I just never liked him. I can't, and for the same reasons I didn't like Lennox Lewis, because I can't stand fighters that look into a TV camera and demand respect. When boxing is the easiest sport to get respect from, all you got to do is perform. But that got me thinking, we're going to be unveiling a new segment next week on this show, Sal. And maybe that could be the first fight that we take a look at. George Foreman against Larry Holmes. Fights that could have happened that didn't.
I like it.
We're going to discuss one last time tomorrow how we want to formulate the new segment. But initially it was, dream matchups. Or fights that could have happened that didn't. This is a fight that not only kind of fits both criteria, a dream matchup, but it's also a fight that could have happened that didn't. What's your thoughts?
I love it. I think that would have been a tremendous fight. And, you would have had the finesse and the boxing ability of Larry Holmes trying to move around and avoid big thumping George. And ultimately, I think Big Thumpin' George would have caught Larry. But we're going to have to see what the magic boxing machine might dissect and assimilate and give us. There's multitude of fights. One of the fights I wanted to see during that era, and I couldn't understand as a kid, when I was a young kid, why it would not happen, was Kenny Norton versus Joe Frazier. I heard stories, well, they were friends, they're not going to fight each other. But you know what? They never fought each other. And you had Kenny Norton and Joe Frazier. I thought their styles would make a tremendous fight. Hello?
Well, you stopped so abruptly, I thought you were going to keep going.
I was going to go on. I was getting for that second breath. I was taking that second win. But I'm saving it for my
I think that, Larry Holmes never seemed to, in my opinion, duck anybody except for George Foreman. Foreman, there are two versions of George Foreman.
Yes.
Actually three. The first George Foreman was the killer George Foreman.
Nasty. Sonny Liston persona.
Oh, my God. He was like a bigger version of Sonny Liston.
Yes,
and he was mean. He was nasty. And he busted out onto the scene after the Olympics and just was destroying people. And, people were afraid to fight him. I mean, he destroyed Joe Frazier, a guy who...
He lifted Joe Frazier up off his feet with an uppercut.
Then there was the version of George Foreman that lost it. It's almost similar to Mike Tyson. When Mike Tyson when Mike Tyson was unbeaten, before Buster Douglas, Mike Tyson, in my opinion, could have beaten any heavyweight during any era. But once he lost, and in the manner in which he lost, being knocked out or what have you, the fear factor was over.
He became unraveled.
And he wasn't the same fighter. The fear factor from other fighters,
yes,
that was an issue. And I think the same thing happened with George Foreman. And I think it affected both of them mentally, because George Foreman went on to lose again. Then he retired for a decade, and when he came back, he was a different George Foreman. He learned how to use the media. He was a guy that kind of copied Muhammad Ali a little bit with the showmanship. Eating cheeseburgers. Remember when he was coming back? He's going, "Yeah, this is my training. I'm eating cheeseburgers." He's making fun of his own physique, but he still could fight. And he learned, the first version of George Foreman, he didn't know how to, everybody was scared of him. He was ornery, he was mean. Then the second version was a beaten George Foreman that had to walk away from the sport. Then the third George Foreman was the guy who learned how to balance it all out, handle the media, right, humble himself, win the fights, move on, and so on and so forth. So, it happens. But getting back to the original issue, Larry Holmes against George Foreman, if they fought both in their prime, if we saw George Foreman prior to his loss to Muhammad Ali, I don't know. I think George Foreman beats Larry Holmes.
George Foreman would knock out Larry Holmes.
Larry Holmes, the only time I ever saw him really get knocked out bad was when he fought Mike Tyson. But then again, you got to say, well, Larry Holmes was an old man at that point.
Yeah, I agree with that. And but like I said, I think that Larry Holmes, and let's not forget that George at that time when Muhammad Ali caught him, he definitely had a suspect chin in that sense. But I'll tell you what, I think that Larry Holmes would be a brilliant boxer, but I just think that George Foreman, with his, again, heavy hands, like clubs, like sledgehammers, breaking you down, coming at you, I think Larry Holmes would have done a great job trying to keep him off at bay as far as he could or as long as he could. But ultimately, I know George Foreman wasn't a ring dummy either. He could cut off the ring, he'd do things. And I think ultimately his power would break down Larry Holmes, and he would have caught Larry Holmes with a heavy blow, and I think it would have been stopped the fight.
Yeah.
That's how I see it. I like to see what the Magic Box Machine tells us.
Yeah, the Magic Box Machine. But I don't know. This is exactly what some of the things we're going to be doing, breaking it down from a statistical standpoint, and then, of course, add our opinions. But we'll have to wait and see on that. But, hey, listen, just to remind everybody one more time, next week we are off on Tuesday, and then the following week we're off, and we'll be back on, I believe it's the 23rd, or no, I'm sorry, it's the 24th. It's a Wednesday, because I'm going to be traveling back and forth from to St. Simon's, and we want you to come down and join Sal and myself. Yes, we have an event on Friday, January 19th at the Sea Palms, which we want you to attend, but come on down a little early. Make sure you got some time to go, explore Sal's restaurant and the delicious food that he has on a daily basis there, and see what we're always talking about. And then don't forget, bring the family and enjoy your time on the island itself. A lot of stuff to do, and of course, if you're a golfer, there's no better golf course than the Sea Palms Resort. I mean, it's a PGA rated course. It's the whole facility is built around the golf course. So you can't debate that.
I think they have 27 holes. 27 holes.
You can't. That's a long game. But
You
can't.
Well, I mean, you don't play all 27.
I know,
you play the front 9, the second 9. You do that. You divide it up, back 9, whatever.
I got it. And don't worry, nobody wins or loses.
I don't know nothing about golf.
Nobody wins or loses when you play Sal at golf. Everyone gets a participation slice of pizza.
Absolutely.
Everybody gets a participation slice of pizza, right?
You and I should play golf around the golf.
I'm awful.
Definitely. I'm. You know what? I can use the putter as a pool cue, and I could probably have a better luck with that.
Hey, listen, I'm terrible. Although I did shoot a 69 one time.
No way. Front 9 or back 9?
Well, it was only an 8. It was only I only played 9 holes, but still, But anyway, don't forget to join us on the 19th. We are going to have some fun down there, like always. We know Ray Mercer's coming. I don't know who else will be there, but we're working on that right now. So it's tough this time of year. Everybody is, having that holiday hangover, and that's why we're calling it our After the Holiday Party. So make sure you get a hold of cpalms.com, get the phone number, and tell them you want to be involved with the Billy C event on January 19th. They'll give you a discount rate for your lodging. On this day in boxing history, Sal, in 2002, Leonard Doria, wins a 12-round. Wins a 12. It's tough when you can't read your own writing. I got to start writing with my hands instead of my feet. But anyway, wins a 12-round decision of Raul Balbi to win the WBA World Lightweight title, and that took place in Texas. On this day in 1931, Benny Bass wins a 10-round decision over Lou Massey to retain his World Junior Lightweight title. It took place in Philly. On this day in 2002, Artur Gregorian stops Rocky Martinez in the 8th round to retain his WBO World Lightweight title. It took place in Germany. And on this day, sad note for me, on this day in 1971, one of my favorite all-time fighters and one of the best heavyweights of all time, and a lot of stories about this guy and how good he was despite losing 2 high-profile fights to Muhammad Ali. Sonny Liston was found dead in his condo on this day in 1971, and he was on his way back again, making a comeback, and he was found dead under very suspicious circumstances.
Yes, we will say that.
And to tell you the truth, there's a lot of versions of the stories, but the one that I believe you could see mapped out for you in a book. And not that I like to promote anyone else's books other than mine, but The Devil in Sonny Liston was a great version of the whole story of Sonny Liston, how he died, why, all those things. So if you've never read that, get yourself a copy. But anyway, hey, listen, if you're on the East Coast, specifically in the North, stay warm this weekend. It's going to be brutally cold, dangerously cold. I know where I'm at, the temperatures tomorrow are going to be around 20 below. And then we have a wind chill. So some of the temperatures where I'm at are going to be, as low as 60 below, including the wind chill. And I know down towards New York City, it's going to be very cold, and with wind chill be someplace around 20 below. So it's going to be a cold weekend. So if you don't have to go out anywhere, don't. But all I could say is this. Make sure you tune in Monday morning. Same bat time, same bat channel. Until then, I'll leave you with this. Ciao, baby.